How's it going, everybody? Chevy AS here. Today I'm gonna be doing another weather radio collection video. I know I literally just did one, but I have finally acquired all the radios that I think I actually want for the time being. Obviously, if something like rare or exclusive comes along, I'll get it. Like, say it was like a black and silver 100 or something, I would get it. Otherwise, for the time being, I think I'm done collecting for just a little bit. I think I'm going to hold on to what I have, save up some more money. And yeah, so without further ado, here's my updated weather radio collection as of February 16th, 2023. Okay, we'll start over here. So kind of secluded in the corner right here is my Radio Shack 12-250. Which, as you can see, gets barely any reception off of WXL 9.3 because it's connected to the same outlet that my laptop is plugged into. Yeah, it doesn't get much reception. It kind of just sits here doing nothing. This is the only radio in my room that's on WXL 9.3 for the time being, and actually besides this thing, but yeah, kind of just sits here secluded. Yeah, got this in May 2022. Just kind of sits here. It works fine, but yeah, it's nothing really much to say. Next up, we have the Midland ER50.
Miles an hour, becoming west in the afternoon. Gusts up to 30 miles an hour.
I impulse bought this back in August 2022 during a severe weather event, and I didn't even catch any alerts on it because after I bought it, no other alerts were issued. But yeah, it also just sits here connected to this USB thing for charging. Very bright flashlight. Good DXer. You know, it's Midland's ER series, so you're gonna get what you get from it.
Saturday night, mostly clear until midnight, then becoming partly cloudy. Lows in the upper 20s. Southwest winds 10.
You know, it gets AM and FM and all that. So yeah, kind of just sits here, not on weather mode because it's loud, but yeah. All right, so now we'll move on to the main attractions. So over here on the bureau, the first radio over here is my Max Digital CR01NW.
Partly sunny. A chance of snow showers in the morning. A chance of rain.
Nice radio. I got this on New Year's Eve, or not New Year's Eve, it was like December 29th, I want to say, 2022. Ordered it as a little Christmas gift for myself. Yeah. Great speaker, great reception. It's about the same as a Capello, but, you know, it's just a different model. So yeah, that's about it with this thing. Get a no message. No message score right there. Alrighty. Next up we have the Sangean CO100 2nd Gen.
Precipitation 90%. Wind chill values as low as 15 in the afternoon. This is no
Beast fantasticness of a radio. It is very loud. It will definitely wake you up. One problem with this particular Sangean is that some of the buttons are starting to kind of be a little unresponsive, but that's alright because if I press them down hard enough, they still respond. You get the gist of the sirens. Very loud, very loud. Great reception, awesome speaker quality, very small. As you can see, there's the palm of my hand against it. Avoid the little injury on my knuckle, or ignore rather. But yeah, it's a very nice radio. One feature that I've always just thought is very unique with this radio is where is it? Is that you can set the contrast of the backlight, but then the other thing is the tone, where you can have the speaker set to bass or treble, or bass or treble, which I think is really unique. There's no other radio out there that does that. But yeah, this is what I mean when I say that some of the buttons are a little unresponsive. As you can see, it wouldn't not pick up, I was hitting select. But yeah, it's a good radio. I have it off though most of the time when there's no severe weather because it's that loud. And that way, so it doesn't blast for 10-day centuries if somehow I miss the RWT. So, that's that one. Next up, we have the somewhat uncommon / rare Midland WR30.
In Massachusetts, orange, cloudy, and 55. Fitchburg, cloud.
So this is a WR30 and is not a 74210, and you can tell it's a WR30 because you have to hold down program to get to the menu. As you can see. Originally when I bought the, as you can see, it's gone off a couple alerts. A couple winter storm warnings from way back when, and the monthly test and all of that. The reason why I bought a WR30 is because these are known for not having tuner issues compared to the 74210. However, when I got this radio, when it first initially arrived, the speaker on it, not the tuner, but the speaker on it, was actually damaged. So I sent this off to Weather Radio Guru down in North Carolina to have him patch it up for me. And he ended up fixing it for me, and it's been working flawlessly ever since, as you can clearly see. So that sits here. And speaking of Weather Radio Guru, next up is a radio that I actually got from him as well. This is a late version 2, as you can see. Well, it's version 2, because when I boot it up it says version 2 and there's a statement light. But it's a late version 2, you can tell because of the separation of the letters in SAM. But yeah, I ended up buying off one of his late V2s off of him.
North Central Massachusetts, south to State Route 2, including Manchester, Nashua, and Keene.
Big difference, obviously, with earlier 100s is that there's no backlight or alert test function. So yeah, it just kind of sits here. The antenna is also really short on early 100s, so I've constructed this little tinfoil external antenna, and it kind of works, as you can see. Yeah, it gets good enough reception off WNG 575 after it failed the monthly test. But yeah, this is a very nice radio. Sought after. WR100s with statement lights are really sought after. Late version 2s are becoming a little more common now, but not as much as early V2s, version 1s, or black and silver WR100s. So if you find a version 2, whether it's version 2, version 1, black and silver, go out and get one. Because these are relatively rare pieces of history right here. So yeah. Next up on the wall, which currently does not have any batteries or is plugged in, is the a WR120 EZ made by Midland. This thing kind of just sits here. I don't really ever have it powered on because it's just boring regular 120. The 120 was the first weather radio I ever got back in like 2014. Speaking of which, I got this fixed for me back in late December last year. I got this about a month ago from Weather Radio Guru. This thing is my third 120 that I've gone through. The first one I had from 2014 broke on me. The second one I sent into Midland Radio Corporation after another issue was on it. Actually, no, I sent a WR100 in at the time where 120s are being made. So I got this spare 120 from them. And then this thing I purchased at Walmart. So, yeah. It's really about it with this thing. It's, it's just your basic 120. It's not a 2020 model, so it does not have the new event codes, but it is also not an OG 120 where it has the ability to turn off only the weekly test. So, yeah. That's that one. We come up here, next one we have is one of my favorites, the Midland 74200.
Partly sunny. A chance of rain. Highs in the
Absolutely fantastic radio. I love this thing. These things are quite old. These were made in 1999, I believe. One of the first ever SAM radios next to the 12250 over there. It looks like Amazon just left my house. Great radio. Absolutely fantastic. I like if I move this. I always thought it was unique how it had a little keypad on top. And yeah. If you ever find yourself a 74200, go out and get one. They're relatively cheap. You can still find them around on eBay. They're very nice. I love them. This thing has had no issues like ever. The only issue is that it's just missing one of the rubber little padding things, so it's kind of off balance, but otherwise it works perfectly fine. So yeah, fantastic radio. I got this back in like April 2022, I think, something like that. Next up is my second Radio Shack Pro 94. This is a scanner, but can also be a weather radio. This one actually works.
5 miles per hour. Chance of precipitation 90%. Wind chill values as...
So, this is the second Pro 97 I've owned. The first one I had broke on me literally 5.5 hours after I unboxed it. Every single button decided to stop working, so I returned that and got a refund. And I decided to buy another one to just give it a chance, and this one has been working flawlessly so far. I have been scanning towns in Massachusetts relative to my location. I am out in central Worcester County, so hence having towns from the Wachusett district. And this also can be used for weather. And what you do to put it in standby for it to go off for alerts. This is actually a scanner that will actually display the alerts. So, like similar to how a regular radio will just say like something like tornado warning. If this went off for a tornado warning, it would actually like show up as tornado warning, not just like weather alert, which I think is really cool. But yeah, to put it on standby, you would just click weather, put it to weather broadcast, hit function, hit weather again. As you can see, it says same standby, and it is ready to go off. And we can actually test the sirens by doing this, holding down the weather button. And you get the idea. So it is used primarily as a scanner, but I'll probably have this on for weather events as well. So yeah, it sits right on top of the 74-200. I got this thing like a couple days ago actually, because it's my second one, as I said. So yeah, that's that. Next up we have the Midland WR400. This is a version 1. The only difference is that the version 1 400s have a USB power adapter, and these do not have the new event codes programmed in, unfortunately, but that's okay. Great radio. It's like the 300 and a 120 had a baby, and it is a fantastic radio. Yeah, it's kind of, just sits here, does its thing. I keep it on display most of the time because it's loud. Yeah, I call it the hybrid between a 120 and a 300 because, as you can see, it looks similar to the 300 and has AM/FM like 300, but if you look at the menu, it's nearly the exact same as a 120 instead of the 300. So yeah, this thing is great. I love this thing. If you can, go out and get one. They're relatively expensive because they're still on retail, but go out and get one. They are amazing. Try to avoid the version 2s if you can, because those can actually have tuner issues. Try to get a version 3 though, because it's the same as the version 1, except you have a regular power jack and not a USB for power supply, and the new event codes are also programmed in there. Got this thing in I got these relatively when they first came out. I think I actually got this Christmas 2017 or 18. It was when these first came out. It was a very generous Christmas gift of mine. Next up, we have the Eton SolarLink FR370 American Red Cross Edition. There's currently no batteries in this, but that's okay. Neat little portable radio. Even though it is kind of on the bigger side, it is still portable. I like how you can control the volume of the siren when it goes off with the actual volume knob. Not many people know that, but that is a thing. And then, this is actually the second SolarLink I've ever owned. I had another American Red Cross SolarLink. The first one I had, I was really stupid and uneducated. This is when I was still really young. This was one of the, maybe the 7th weather radio I ever got way back in, 2016. I was still very uneducated, and, I wanted to have this thing running on a power adapter. So, I put an adapter in. But, as you can see on the back, if we go into better lighting... As you can see on the back, this radio requires 5 volts of power if you put a power supply in. I put in the power adapter to an HH54, which is 9 or 12 volts, I forget. But either way, it is enough to overvolt the radio, and it did not overvolt immediately. I knew it was overvolted when the screen started turning black and it became very, very hot to the touch. So essentially, because I was young and stupid, I almost set fire to my whole house just to power a weather radio. So don't be like me. Do your research. Figure out what voltage your radios need before you decide to plug them in, if they didn't come with a plug. Don't be like me. But yeah, I bought this thing back in late 2021 just to have another one, and I absolutely love this thing. I'll probably... I think I might actually take these two radios up to Maine with me this summer when I head up to York, Maine for a week. So, yeah, it just sits up here. It's nice. Very good radio. Alright. Here's the power adapter actually to the next radio we'll get to, which I'll just keep down there. But next is the newest member of the family, which I just got yesterday, February 15th. The relatively very, actually not even relative, the just full-on rare Cobra CWR200.
In the upper 20s. Chance of snow.
I've wanted one of these for a while. I don't know why. I've always just found it as a neat little radio. These have become very, very, very hard to find. I ended up scrolling through eBay at like 1 in the morning one time, and I found this for about 37 bucks. And I picked it up. It came with the dock and the power cord, but it did not come with the rechargeable batteries, but that's okay. I just have regular alkalines in right now. I haven't seen it work for alerts yet because nothing's been issued since I got it, but so far, tuner-wise and everything, reception-wise, it works great. You can put it on tornado-only mode to have it only go off for tornado watches or warnings. One thing I kind of don't like about this radio is that to actually have the broadcast like not playing, you have to have the volume at 0. If you hit weather snooze, it doesn't just go into standby mode.
Monadnock Mountain.
As you can see.
Tonight, cloudy.
Even if you hold it, nothing happens. Which I've always thought was kind of weird, but oh well. I'm not Cobra. I'm not the one who discontinued this radio after like 5 months of it being released. I don't know. But yeah, I love this thing so far. It just sits up here in the dock right now, waiting for alerts to come in because we're currently in like a... New England is currently experiencing its yearly EAS drought. But yeah. Great radio, just sits there for now. As do all of these, kind of. Alright, next up we have the Radio Shack 12-254.
25 megahertz from Monadnock and Peterborough, New Hampshire.
Nifty little radio. It works. It's gone off for a couple flood warnings. At least that's what I've had it turned on for. I believe this is one of Radio Shack's first portable same weather radios. It's very neat in itself. It's essentially a handheld version of the 12250. It's loud when it goes off. The alert tone is kind of loud. And yeah, this was a very generous Christmas present this past Christmas from my girlfriend, actually. So special thanks to her. And this radio kind of just sits up here. It's starting to get a little yellowed, though. Maybe because it's from the sun, so I should probably avoid having that out in the sun for long. Because it looks like it's getting... It's not really, but on camera it kind of looks like it's getting yellowed. Next handheld, after the barragement of handhelds we have going on here, is a Midland 74-250C, version 2.
Nashua Sunny 57. Jaffrey's.
Great little radio. Doesn't have the best reception, but it's alright. I like the scroll on it a lot. It's a unique yellow color as well. Cool alert tone, kind of just cool everything. If you want like a vintage handheld that like you don't plan on having as your main relier, get this thing. It's actually really cool, honestly. Obviously it's not made anymore. Before they discontinued them, these were what was made after them, portable wise by Midland. So yeah, if you're looking for just a vintage handheld weather radio, get yourself one of these. These were made in like the mid 2000s. Very nice indeed. Alright, next up is a radio that I'm very disappointed with. The Vector VEC 438. I thought this radio was going to be way cooler than it actually is. I think this thing is lame. It came with the charging dock, which makes it kind of like almost extremely rare, I would go to say. You don't normally see the docks with Vectors. However, the problem is the battery that came with it, which I've since lost, which I feel kind of stupid for, but the battery that came with it and the dock itself do not work. So you have to run this radio off of alkaline AAAs. because it will not charge. And I have nothing else that appears to plug it in, or that appears to hold a charge when I plug it in through the back of the radio. But, it kind of just sits there doing nothing. It's just a part of the collection now. It's nowhere near as cool as I thought it would be. I wouldn't recommend this radio, but yeah, to each his own, I guess. It just kind of sits there doing nothing. Yeah, like as you can see, it's just like very loose in the dock, so I don't know. It's not the best radio, but yeah, you get the idea. Alright, check my phone real fast, because I think I'm getting a lot of noties. Yes, I am. Leave that there. Next up is the, oh, by the way, I got that thing, I mentioned that. I got that thing about 4.5 years ago during the summer. This thing I got in November of 2022. And now, as we move on, we will get to the Recom R1650C.
Rain with possible drizzle and thunderstorms in the morning, then rain showers in the afternoon.
Thunderstorms, yes, please, anyways. I wanted this to be a 1650D, but I guess the seller I purchased it from actually had a C model instead, which is, I guess, alright, but I don't know. I've always kind of preferred the 1650 over the 1630 that I had, which I still have, but I'll get to later. It's really the same, it just has AM FM is the only difference. It's gone off for every alert that it's been here for, which would be the weeklies and the monthlies. As you can see, it's a C because it takes longer to get to the menu. But yeah, it's just a regular Recom other than that. I was kind of just hoping that it would be a D model though, because I guess C's tend to have tuner issues, so that might suck in the future, but hopefully not. We can only hope.
Pretty night.
But yeah, it just sits right here. Next up, oh, I got that thing in like early January this year. Next up, which I also got like a week ago, is the Eton Zone Guard.
Sunday night, mostly cloudy.
Now you might be thinking to yourself, wait, didn't you already have a Zone Guard? What do you mean you got this thing like a week ago? Well, here's my old Zone Guard. All the buttons in this decided to stop working on me, so I really couldn't do anything. And I took it off of alert mode apparently, because I guess the power button was the one that decided to work. But I took it out of alert mode, and then it would not turn back on. So I couldn't even put this thing back in alert mode. So what I did is I went out and bought a new Zone Guard, and it's been working flawlessly, because as you can see, the buttons are actually responsive. Look at that. So I finally have a Zone Guard with responsive buttons. But yeah, it's the same thing as just the other Zone Guard. It's not the newer model, it's still an older model Zone Guard with the green advisory light, but that's alright. It just sits there looking pretty. Next up is the Radio Shack 12-991 white logo.
Chance of rain. A chance of snow showers until...
This finally completes my 1299X part of my collection for Radio Shack. I got this thing in like December maybe. It was either December or January of this year, 2022. You know what I'm trying to say. Yeah, it just sits here.
precipitation.
Yeah, nothing really much else to say. These are becoming fairly uncommon, especially white logo 991, so yeah. Next up is what I like to call All Reliable, the Radio Shack 12996.
Chance of rain.
Fantastic speaker, fantastic reception, fantastic everything. This thing is a beast of a radio. These things are becoming relatively rare as well. If you can get your hands on a Radio Shack 12996, do it. These things are so worth the money. Like, you can even hear it in my voice. Like, these things are literal beauties. These things are heaven on earth. I've had this thing since April 2015. And it still works perfectly fine nearly 8 years later. It is a fantastic radio. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. If you find a 996, get one. You won't be disappointed. But if you find one of these, don't be disappointed. You won't be disappointed either, unless you're me. This is the Radio Shack 12-993. This was the fourth weather radio I ever bought back in, I want to say May of 2015. These are extremely, extremely rare nowadays and extremely sought after. The problem is, I can't use mine. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Well, if it still goes off for alerts, which it does, why can't you use it? Well, look what happens when I turn it on. The screen on this radio is broken and it is completely unreadable.
88 degrees, then 2 point.
Unless you're like me and you can memorize what these radios look like, you can't read jack. I mean, it still goes off for alerts and stuff, but like I can't take it anywhere with me because like I just can't read it. It's really unfortunate. I really wish, and it's not even a fixable issue, I don't think, which is extremely unfortunate. It makes me very sad. If one is listed, it's practically gone in an instant because that's how good and durable and reliable these things are. I don't know what happened that caused the screen on mine to do that. If anybody knows if I can fix that issue, please let me know, because that just saddens me very much. But yeah, it sits there looking pretty as well. I'll turn it on when alerts are coming in, but I'll never like use it or anything because I really can't, because I can't read it. But if there's a known issue to get that screen issue fixed, I'm doing it in an instant, and this thing will be like my favorite again. Was my favorite weather radio until it stopped working like that. So yeah. Next up is the Radio Shack 12-519.
Cloudy 68 in Albany.
Bought this back in December 2021. It's an awesome radio. I love it. It's got Skywarn, which is a unique feature that no other radio really has. Yeah, it's got the same siren as these three right here, so it's kind of an orchestra of the same thing whenever they go off for alerts. Yeah, this is a first header 519, by the way. This is not a third header. There are 519s out there that activate on the third header. This one goes off for the first, which I'm kind of happy about because I would not really want a third header 519.
Weather and seasonably mild.
So yeah, that's that. I guess I can do a quick siren test. The 993 sounds exactly the same as the 991, by the way. Yeah. Next up, we have the Radio Shack 12-259, 2004, I think. 2004. 2007, rather. Not 2004. I don't know what's going through my head right now. But yeah. 12259, Silver Edition. I gotta put this back on correctly. No, what am I doing on here? This is a bit of a fail. Can't even get the belt clip off either. What is wrong with me today? I think I just need some sleep, folks. School's kind of been kicking my ass, so if I have free time, I want to do what I love, which is this crap. As hard as it's sleep. Alright, that's on. There we go. But yeah, Radio Shack 12259 Silver Edition. Silver 259s tend to have tuner issues, which is unfortunate. Hopefully this one doesn't die in the future. It's working great. I got this in July of this past year.
Northwest winds 10 to...
Yeah. There we go. Yeah. I'll turn it on when alert comes in, otherwise I have it off because it eats through batteries like candy. And it just sits on top of the 519, but it's an alright handheld. Not the best, but it's alright. Next up we have the Midland HH54 VP2 version 16 with dock. I don't even want to know why it's been having such reception issues lately, but it could be because of this. Because the antenna cap started to come off. Although I don't understand why I wouldn't have the good reception if the antenna cap comes off. But, yeah. It's a regular V16. I'm supposed to have another HH coming in from Antonio, or also known as Pittsburgh EAS. I ordered that like 2 weeks ago. Has yet to arrive, but that's alright. Yeah, it's a regular V15 HH. This is the second weather radio I ever bought back in March 2014. And it still works today. It's just very worn and all that, but I need to figure out what's causing reception issues with it. Because right there it used to be perfectly fine on WNG 575, and now it's shit. But, oh well. Next up we have the First Alert WX150.
Thursday.
Got this back in June, I want to... No, not June. Maybe it was. It was... Actually, no, it was August. And this was either late July or August of 2022. This is the second one, actually, I bought. The first one I bought came completely bricked, so there was nothing I could do, and returns were not accepted by the seller I bought this from. So I basically got scammed out of $12. That's probably why it was so cheap, because even though it was in brand new condition, supposedly, it obviously was not. But yeah, this one's been working since. It's gone off for everything. And yeah. Quiet siren, but for some reason the lowest volume setting for the actual broadcast is a little loud for my liking. But that's okay. Fantastical radio just sits there. And finally, for at least in-service radios, we have the extremely rare, sought-after Midland WR301.
There's no weather radio station WMG 575.
This isn't actually the original 301. The original 301 that came with like the Monster Uke shell died, the tuner died. So I bought another version 5, unfortunately, which is another one that has tendency to die, because version 5s with the text tend to die. But I bought another one of those, and I replaced the Monster Uke shell of the WR301 with the regular... I replaced the regular 301. I don't know. Alright. Camera had to cut out, but oh well. Anyways, sought after WR301. Had to buy another 300, a regular 300 that I got for like $25. And I replaced the silver shell on that with the shell of my 301. So this is technically still a 300, but it's a 301 because it's got the actual shell on it.
The summit of Mount White.
It's literally the same as a regular, just the same as a regular 300. And I'll siren test this too on that. But, yeah, it just sits there. It's connected to this Midland 18 STR strobe light. I had my original I've had the 301 shell, at least we'll say that, since Christmas of 2015. It was another one of my firsts. So yeah, that's that. Now we'll get into radios that are out of service, some of which still work, some of which don't. Actually, now I think about it, all of these that are out of service do work. First one that's quite noticeable is my R1630. It works, it's just been replaced by the 1650. I might sell this thing for relatively cheap because they're not really worth that much, but yeah. It's a regular 1630C. It works fine. The antenna is a little bit bent, but that doesn't affect reception at all. So it sits up here. Next we got this version 5 WR100, which is quote-unquote replaced by the V2. I'm not the type of person that feels like they need the same versions of radios out like that, like some people. But yeah, it's just a regular version 5 100. Works perfectly fine, just sits up there. This will probably be my backup 100 in case the version 2 decides to break on me or something, which I doubt it will, but... Next we got this crappy HH50. The battery compartment's always been loose. This is just a really bad 1050 Hz radio. I get the gimmick that it's supposed to fit in a pocket because of how small it is, but I don't know. I just have never liked it. I don't even know why I have it. And I don't know why I have this. This is a Eton FRX1, not the digital edition. And this thing is just, this is a piece of garbage. I've never used this, never will. I don't even know why I bought this. I don't even know where I got it. This thing is just really crappy. Flashlight button doesn't even work. I don't think. Like, you can hear it, but it's just very, I don't know. Piece of shit radio. I hate it. I also hate this Lacrosse SA3301. I don't know why I have this. The reception on this is terrible. It is the same radio though, so it's got some credit. And it can do tornado only, just like the CWR200 over there. But yeah, I don't know why I bought this thing. It's just not good. Would not recommend. But a vintage radio I would recommend that actually still works and I still actually like is the Midland WR10. This is an older 1050 Hz Midland radio. Do I have a battery in this? Why does it feel heavier than normal? Okay, there's no battery in this, but it feels heavier for some reason. But yeah, WR10, old 1050 Hertz Midland radio. 3 buttons only, the usual. The main gimmick of this radio was that it looks like the M in Midland's logo. As you can see, there's the logo for comparison. And here's the radio. I just kind of put this out of service because I no longer have the room. And I'm not a big fan of 1050 Hertz radios. I'm not a big fan of 1050 Hertz radios. How about the world sees it through with this whole computer chip shortage and we just get back to making same radios? They're actually more effective, in my opinion. But yeah, it just sits up there. So, that being said, that is really all it, folks. I don't plan on collecting anything anytime soon, unless it's like really exclusive. The only things I see myself getting are perhaps another HH, if I can find one, after Antonio's comes in, because I want one with like a normal antenna. I'll probably use the spare antenna as like a backup HH, but yeah, as of right now, everything you see here is essentially what I've always really wanted. Well, that's not true. I have always wanted an SFA 1150 from First Alert, but that's wishful thinking. That will never happen. There hasn't been a single one listed since like 2017. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up, guys. You'll probably, yeah, like as I'm saying, you'll probably only see unboxings of new additions to the collection if something rare and exclusive comes along. But and I can get my hands on it, assuming. But yeah, that's gonna about do it, guys. So
50%.
hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was kind of just me rambling on about, you know, stupid weather radio stuff, but you know, at the end of the day, it's something I like doing. It's something that a lot of other people like doing. Yeah, you only live once, so why not enjoy what you like to the fullest that you possibly can, no matter the kind of trouble it gets you in, such as being loud. That goes to explain itself. Anyways, yeah, that's about gonna wrap it up here, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like, give a comment, subscribe, do all the fun stuff that people do. I don't know. And yeah. Alrighty. Take care, you guys. This has been Chevy AS, and I will talk to you all later.